Well, hi folks, getting towards the start of May now, but not quite, so a little bit early than normal. I'm going to plant out my brassicas in my newly made brassica house here. So I've got some red cabbage. They're all sort of later season ones these, because I prefer to grow the later ones, so then they're not all coming in summer like a lot of them are, but you can take them all over winter then. So I've got some red cabbage, I've got a red Savoy, I've got some dwarf kale, and I've also got some American land cress, which I've not grown before. I think I might have grown it years and years ago. So I think that's a little bit like watercress. So what I'll do is that I'll sort of catch crop that in between the brassicas, so we should get a nice little crop of a little watercressy type material before the cabbages have grown. So I'll get it all sorted out, and we'll get some of these brassicas planted in the new brassica house. Right then folks, I'm going to start off in this bit. I'm going to put my red cabbages in this row, and instead of using a dibber for these, I'm going to use my trowel, because I want to plant these a little bit deeper than they were in the modules. So I want a bit of soil to sort of put against the stem, if you will. So with all brassicas and things like that, I mean, these are not particularly leggy at all, but I can bury them. You can bury them right up to the bottom of the first of the seed leaves. So just judge that, like so. It just stops them being leggy, makes them a bit more sturdy. And as we all know, with brassicas, they need a good firming in. You can't really over firm them. So I'll just keep doing that. Oh dear me. So I'm planting these out. What am I planting these out? About 18 inches apart, because they are quite a big plant. That's why you need such a big area to grow a lot of cabbages. It's not the most ideal scenario for space saving, but it is nice to get something like a red cabbage near to Christmas. So again, just burying it up to its seed leaves like that, which will anchor it in well, giving it a good firming in. I'll give them a good watering, and then another one about 18 inches apart, about a good 16-18 inches apart away from the net, so that the leaves don't actually touch it, and stops any caterpillars, any butterflies landing on it. So you can see they're quite nice plants. I'm surprised how well they've grown. They've got a nice root structure on. I've grown them in quite small modules this year, and I think any more than that and they might get a little bit pot bound, which can sometimes tend to cause transplant stress when you plant them out, because they're so happy to have been growing in really nice compost. The roots just get round and round and round and round, and they just don't seem to transplant very well. So my thinking with these, especially at this time of year, is the weather's going to be absolutely fantastic this week. If I kept these growing in the greenhouse, they're just going to suffer. They're going to dry out, they're going to get too hot. So I might as well get them in. Nice weather coming, so they should establish well, and then we should be off to a good one. So I'll plant these out, and then we'll get on and plant some of the Savoys out, and then some of the dwarf kale and a bit of the older land cress. Right then folks, that's the cabbages out. Anyway, cabbages out there, I've got 7, and then I've got 6 Savoy. They're a bit small, you can't probably see them. And then in the middle row, we've got half a dozen of the kale. So in all these bits like that, and in between the stepping stones like so, I'll chuck some of the land cress. So we'll get a bit of this land cress put in, and we'll see how that grows this year. We'll get some of this land cress in these sort of bits in between the rows. Should get a catch crop. I'm not sure how well it grows. Apparently it does go to seed quite easily, unless you keep it really, really well watered. Some of these have got about 2 or 3 plants in, so I'll just plant them as is, really. No big deal. So like I said, I can't remember growing it. I probably have done in the past, but if anyone knows what it's like, let me know. Let me know if it's worth growing, because I do like watercress, but there's no way of growing proper watercress. And if you go out picking watercress, you're probably going to get these horrible diseases off the snails that live in the rivers. So I thought this is about the only alternative to it. Nothing ventured. Again, it was very cheap seed. So we'll see how we get on. So I might as well get something in between these. There's plenty of space. Because these cabbages are, like I said, they're a late variety. So it'll be at least sort of autumn, early winter before they start to grow into big plants. So there's all this spare room. Might as well utilise it. So I'll just plonk a few of these in. Oh dear. So I think I'll try and really keep these really well watered, so they don't go to seed as quickly as they're supposed to do. I'll just put one more in here. Try not to stand on all my cabbages. And if I've got any spare, I'll probably just throw them in a bed somewhere. So we'll see how we get on. So this will be the last one in this bit. Excuse my backside sticking out, probably. Right then, that's a few of those in. Show you what it looks like. Right then folks, that's it, all planted out now, my new cage. So I've got 7 Savoy, 7 red cabbages, 6 kale and 4 land cress plants in there now. So that's a 10x6 area. So you don't get a great deal out of an area when you're growing brassicas, I must admit. Because compared to this bit, I've got about 100 onions in the same area, so yeah, you do need a lot of space for brassicas. So anyway, that's all in. Butterfly should be kept out now, just whether or not I can keep the slugs off. So anyway folks, setting a lot of planting out now, so that's my brassicas done. Lovely night, see you later. Well folks, people ask me how isolated my garden is, so I'll just give you an idea. There you can see it in the distance, in amongst the woods. That's it. Can you hear the curlews coming in? Couldn't think of a nicer spot though.